Hello, dear DSC candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I'm Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In today's video, I'm going to teach you the poem Mid-Monsoon Madness written by Nissim Ezekiel. And I don't understand why most of the students have wanted this poem. Okay, very much. So on their demand, I am teaching you this poem, and therefore I request all of you to listen to this poem very carefully till the end without skipping it in the middle. I also request all of you to consider subscribing to my channel and also sharing this video with all your near and dear ones that are going to take the DSC examination on the 25th of this month. Okay, thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. Mid-Monsoon Madness written by Nissim Ezekiel. Okay, and before I teach you this poem, I would like to remind you of the things I told you about this Nissim Ezekiel while I was teaching you the poem Night of the Scorpion. Okay, once again, I would like to bring to your mind certain important points about this Nissim Ezekiel. Okay, this Nissim Ezekiel was born in Bombay, now called Mumbai, in 1924 into a Jewish family. He was a celebrated, influential Indian poet, playwright, and art critic. And here he was considered as one of the most celebrated foundational figures of Indian English literature. Okay, Indian English literature. And you know very well, in his lifetime he wrote lots of poems, and all those poems were published in the form of 4 volumes. And here, for his latter day Psalms, in 1983 he received Sahitya Academy Award. So I told you so many things about this great poet, and I'm also going to tell you all those things once again. But before that, so let me talk to you about this Mid-Monsoon Madness. And in this poem, Nissim Ezekiel is telling you the people's reaction both in the in July, that is the monsoon period, both in July as well as in August. So in July what happens, there will be little showers. Okay, people will enjoy those little showers because that July comes okay, immediately after summer. So the people fed up with the summer want to get drenched in the little showers in July. So that the reaction of the people will be happy at that time. But in the month of August, what happens? There will be heavy rains, torrential rains, and therefore people don't want to go out of their homes because in the heavy rain nobody likes to go out. So the people's reaction will be somewhat frustrating and somewhat frightful and all that. So all these things are explained in this poem, or described in this poem by this Nissim Ezekiel. We are going to see all those things in this poem. Without wasting our precious time, let us look at the important points about the poet and also about the poem. Very quickly, let us do that. And here you pay attention about the poet. Okay, what is that? Nissim Ezekiel, 1924. He was born in 94 and died in 2004. He was born in Bombay, now called Mumbai, into a Jewish family. This point I made clear to you while I was teaching you the poem Night of the Scorpion. And here pay attention. He was an influential Indian poet, playwright, and art critic. Okay, and next, he was widely regarded, or he was widely considered as one of the foundational figures. Foundational figures means the persons, the personalities that have laid foundation for what? For Indian English literature. So that is the point. And here his works reflect India's diverse cultural heritage found in multicultural urban environment. This point is important. You can his works, what do they reflect? They reflect India's diverse cultural heritage. In India, you can find different kinds of traditions, different kinds of cultures, different kinds of people. So that you can find where? In multicultural urban environment. In Hyderabad, you can find people belonging to different traditions, different cultures, isn't it? So all kinds of people can be found in a metropolitan city. Metropolitan city itself means all kinds of people belong belonging to all kinds of religions, castes, cultures, traditions will be living in that Kansas city. That's why you can find India's diverse cultural heritage mostly where in urban environment. That point is also made clear through his works. And now we go to learn other points about him. And here pay attention. Ezekiel was educated at Wilson College, Mumbai, and where he earned a degree in literature. He did his BA literature from that college, okay, and later at Birkbeck College and University of London. And he later continued his studies in London, and he studied in these two colleges, Birkbeck College and University of London, right. And next point is his time in England significantly influenced and shaped his literary careers. That means, during his stay in London, his literary career was influenced and shaped, because that is England is the land of various poets, hundreds of English poets. That's why what happened, his literary career was greatly influenced and shaped when he was in London, in England, exposing him to various literary movements and intellectual currents. So he was during his stay in England, what happened, he was exposed to various literary movements and intellectual currents. This point also I told you in the previous class. And here you pay attention. Upon returning to India, Ezekiel became an integral part of the literary scene. After coming back from England, he could become an integral part or a part and parcel of Indian literary scene or domain, something like that. And here you pay attention. He held various academic and editorial positions. Another point about him is, after his coming back from London, he occupied various academic positions and various editorial positions also. And here you pay attention. He contributed significantly. Significantly means considerably to the development of Indian English poetry, Indian English literature. So that is the great contribution of this Nissim Ezekiel. And now we go to learn other things about Nissim Ezekiel. And his works often explore themes such as identity, exile, tradition, modernity, reflecting his keen observation of contemporary Indian life and the complexities of human relationships. So in all his works you can find the themes of identity. So recognition, okay, and exile, tradition, modernity. These were the themes of his works, and all these themes reflected his keen observation of contemporary Indian life. Samakalina Bharatiya Jeevitam. So that was reflected in all these works, and the complexities of human relationships also reflected in his works. And here you pay attention, his poetry is known for its clarity. So in his poetry you can find clarity, clear details will be there, clarity will be there, and precision. It will be very brief, and brevity is the main feature of his poetry. Whatever he wants to tell us, he will tell us very briefly. He does not deviate from the point, and he does not explain anything. So there will be precision. Precision means brevity, kluptata, that can be found in his poetry. And subtle irony. Subtle irony means mild rebuke or mild criticism will be there in his poetry. Okay, right. And here his notable works include collections like, what are these collections? This is an important point from your examination point of view. And A Time to Change, 1952, and next 60 Poems, 1953, published, and The Unfinished Man, 1960, and next The Exact Name, 1965, and what? Latter Day Psalms. You know very well, for this Latter Day Psalms only, in 1983, this book was published in 1982, but he received Sahitya Academy Award in 1983. Okay, that is the greatness of this. All these poems, all these volumes of poems he wrote during his lifetime. That is the greatness of this Nissim Ezekiel. Okay, now we move on to learn a few more things about this Nissim Ezekiel. And in addition to poetry, besides writing poetry, Ezekiel wrote plays. Some short plays also he wrote. some dramas, some plays, okay, short plays, and essays also he wrote, and art criticism. So apart from writing this poetry, he wrote plays, essays, and art criticism. Very simple, very easy. And here you pay attention, he was instrumental in shaping the literary discourse of post-colonial India. So after the British rule in our country, he was very instrumental, okay, for the establishment of a literary discourse. Oh, that means, it's a literary domain, okay, in this country, Indian English literature. So he shaped that literary discourse, literary field, okay, literary domain in post-colonial India. So that's what he did. He was the prominent instrumentalist. He was the prominent person, okay, in shaping that literary domain of this country. He received several prestigious awards, including the Sahitya Akademi Award in 1983 for his collection Later Day Psalms. Okay, for this book in 1983, he received Sahitya Akademi Award apart from other various prestigious awards. This is all about Nissim Ezekiel. These same points I also dealt with at the time of teaching you the poem Night of the Scorpion. That's why I'm not explaining all these things still clearly and all that. Okay, and now we move on to learn about the poem Mid-Monsoon Madness. Okay, and about the poem, okay, Mid-Monsoon Madness by Nissim Ezekiel is a poem that describes what? The reaction of the people. The reaction of the people to what? To the light rains in July. In July you find only light rains. June, July, only light rains. Light rains means light showers you can find. And here to these light rains, the people feel very happy. Whereas during August what happens, you find heavy rains. At that time people feel very much frustrated, because there will be heavy rains, torrential rains. They cannot go out to buy their vegetables or to do their job, and that's why the people get very much frustrated with that rainy atmosphere, that monsoon atmosphere. Okay, and that's why in this poem you are going to learn the reaction of the people to the light rains in July and heavy rains in August. So how was their reaction? So this point you are going to learn in this poem. Ezekiel is known for his keen observations. So because he observed the people very keenly, and that's why he could mention these things very clearly in this poem. Vivid description. Okay, he observed he observed all these things very clearly, and that's why he could give the details very clearly. And that point is over in this poem. The weather is described vividly. The weather, it means the monsoon season or rain, is described vividly, emphasizing the rain and its impact. So when it rains, what happens? Its impact will be different. Now what is happening in India, in Telangana or in Andhra, there are heavy rains. Okay, here and there heavy rains are there. Because of these heavy rains, what is happening, even the schools were closed. I have read some news today itself, I think, the schools were closed for 2 or 3 days. Because of the heavy rains, because the roads were blocked, because the rivers were overflowing, and because of various reasons, because of these heavy rains, schools were closed, offices were closed, and the life of the people has become disrupted. It has become disrupted. And you know very well. So here the weather is described vividly, emphasizing the rain and its impact, in its influence. These two things he describes in this. One more point about this poem is, it has altogether 35 unequal lines. Unequal means, not all lines are not of equal length, because it is written in free verse. In free verse means no rhyme scheme, no meter, then it is called free verse. No rhyme, no meter, that poetry is called free verse. Therefore, in free verse, the length of the lines may be differing. One may be small, the other may be long, different lengths will be there. So the same things you are going to find in this poem. So this is all about the poem. I hope you have understood all about the poet, all about the poem very clearly. Okay, now we just go to the poem and learn it. Therefore, I request all of you to pay a very good attention to the meaning of the poem. Very simple, very easy. Now we are going to learn about the poem. The text of Mid-Monsoon Madness, right? So these are the, you see the lines of this poem. Okay, they are of unequal size. Unequal size. This is, there are 3 words in this line. There are 4 words. There are 2 words. There is only 1 word in this line. 2 words again, 3 words, 4 words, like so unequal, because this poem has been written in free verse. And here I have also given you the picture of this rain. When it rains, what happens? The life of the people will be disrupted. It will be disturbed, in other words. Hope you understand. Let me give you the meaning of these small lines. I must confess, I must acknowledge, I must admit. I must confess means I must admit, I must acknowledge. Nenu oppukovalsinde. What? I have never liked the rain. The poet says that he has never liked the rain, especially in January. And he doesn't like the rain that falls in January. జనవరి నెలలో కురిసే వర్షాన్ని తాను ఇష్టపడనని ఒప్పుకుంటున్నాడు. ఐ మస్ట్ కన్ఫెస్, నేను ఒప్పుకోవాల్సిందే. ఏమిటది? జనవరిలో కురిసే వర్షాన్ని నేను ఇష్టపడను. ఇట్ ఈస్ generally in January also some rains will fall, because during that season, that just before Sankranti, I think it will be raining. Here and there will be some showers, okay? And before Christmas or before Sankranti, there will be some, during that period, there will be some rains, winter rains. And the poet says he doesn't like those winter rains. Winter season lo che rains nu taan ishtapadanani chebutunnaadu. So here you see that too in Bombay. No, let me call it Bombay itself, because if I say it Mumbai, you might get confused. So here he says, I must confess, simple, I have never liked the rain. Line, enjoyment is there. It is not this line is entering this line, flowing into this line. So I have never liked the rain, especially in January in Bombay. The sentence is clear. You can also easily understand the meaning of this. July is bad enough. Okay, now he is talking to you about the rain that falls in July. How is that rain? That is bad enough. Somewhat bad enough. Then here the pitter patter at night. The pitter patter is what? It's a sound of the raindrops. Tap, 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 tap. This is called, you are saying tap, tap, tap. But Nissim Ezekiel says, pitter patter, tapa, 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 something like that. Some kind of sound the raindrops, okay, will make. Okay. Here what is that? The pitter patter at night. During the nights, what happens? You can hear what? The sound of the pitter patter, the sound of the raindrops falling. Okay, and here on bedroom windows, these raindrops will be hitting what? Hitting the bedroom windows. That's why you can hear. If the raindrops fall on the terrace, you may not hear the sound, but when they hit the bedroom windows, you can definitely hear the sound of the raindrops. So here, the pitter patter at night on bedroom windows and or on suburban trees in the morning. On the suburban means on the outside the city limits, the villages or the places, the areas around the city are called suburban. So on suburban trees, that means beyond the city limits there are some trees. On the suburban trees in the morning, what happens? The rain will be falling, showers will be falling, tap, 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 like that. Because when he says pitter patter means automatically you must understand that it is a light shower. Because only light shower can give you this kind of sound, pitter patter, tap, 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 light shower. Okay, the heavy rain doesn't make this kind of sound, pitter patter sound, it doesn't make, only the light shower. So here from this you understand that it is a light shower. there are 4 kinds of raining. So if it is, you can find some kind of small rain, that is called, it is drizzling. Then you say, it is drizzling. Sir, it is drizzling, sir. Drizzling means small, less than the size of the drops. Small shower, sprinkling. When the rain is sprinkling, then you say drizzling. Sir, it's drizzling, sir. Drizzling, you know very well. And if the size of the drops is more than that, then you say it is showering. It is showering. You have to say it is showering. The same shower picks up its speed and falls very fast. Then you say it is raining. And if it picks up more speed and falls very fast, then it is called, then it is pouring. You know that? It is drizzling, it is showering, it is raining, it is pouring. Pouring means it is a torrential rain. Kunda potaga varsham vaste, that's called. It's pouring. Sir, it is pouring, sir. Mamulga heavyga rain vaste, it is raining. Jallu vaste, it is showering. Tumparalaga vastunte, it is drizzling. So drizzling, showering, raining, pouring. Please keep these 4 points in your mind, and they may be of use to you in your future life. Leave it. Okay, this is this indicates it is only what? A showering. Now you go to the next part of the poem, and here this is the second part of the poem, and here see how the rain is falling. So here non-stop, it's not showering, it's raining. Okay, you know the difference between showering and raining, right? And here it is raining heavily, right? And occasionally a girl with wet hair wrapped in a towel, grassy and deliciously naked. So here I have thought about these lines, okay, and I have doubted how this has a connection with this poem and how this has a context in this poem. Ee lines ki ee poem ki emi sambandham anukunnanu gaani thought over these lines, I could find some meaning of these lines. What is that? And occasionally, every now and then, a girl means here don't take only a girl, the children, okay, the children, not one girl, the children with wet hair. What happens, during the first showers or first rains of the season? What tolakari jallulu antam, tolakari varshalu kaadu, tolakari jallulu. So during that first showers, what happens, the little children, they want to play in the little showers and they want to get wet. Even the elders also want to get wet because these showers are falling when? Immediately after the very hot summer. భయంకరమైన ఎండల తర్వాత కురిసే జల్లులంటే ఎవరికి మాత్రం ఇష్టం ఉండదు. So that's why what happened now. Here the girl means, let us see the meaning of this first of all, and afterwards I tell you the meaning of that. Okay. Occasionally a girl with wet hair wrapped in a towel. What does a girl do when her hair gets wet? She wraps a towel around the head, okay, to dry it. Okay. Nowadays you have hair dryers and all that, but in those days were there hair dryers? No. That's why even today also in the rural areas people will wrap their heads with towels to get their wet hair dried up. So that is there. So here this girl is this girl has wrapped her wet hair with a towel and grassy and deliciously naked. So here this word means, grassy means you have to say attractive, okay. Attractive, better say attractive, because when you look at the grassy meadows, how do they look to you? They look very attractive. పచ్చని పచ్చిక బయలు చూసినప్పుడు ఆకర్షణీయంగా అనిపిస్తుంటాయి. So here grassy means here you have to take the meaning of attractive from this word, and also deliciously means here beautiful, okay, beautiful. So here the girl who is attractive and beautiful has wrapped her head with a towel to get her wet hair dried up. So that is the meaning of this. During the beginning of the rainy season, there will be little showers, and in these little showers, what happens? The children want to play. They want to get wet. They want to enjoy themselves in those little showers. So that is the meaning you have to take, because that is a pleasant thing, not only for these little children, even for the elders will also enjoy themselves in the little showers. And that is the meaning you have to take from these lines, because the first rains of the season are very pleasant. Okay, they bring happiness to the people, right? The rain makes a lovely marginalia in the quiet textbook of life. You see the meaning of these three lines. Here the poet Nissim Ezekiel says that this rain makes lovely marginalia. Marginalia means what? Marginalia means marginal notes. Okay, marginal notes. You know very well, when you read some book, you make some notes, you write some notes on the margin of that passage or in that book. So in those days, the people used to read the books very voraciously. So whenever they read certain things, the thoughts, from those passages, whenever they get some idea, they used to write on the margin. For example, this is the page. Okay, take it for granted. This is the book page, and this margin is there. Whatever they read in this on this passage, they will some point they used to write 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. Some synapses they used to prepare. So that is called marginalia, marginal notes. Okay, these marginal notes are part and parcel of this book. The poet says this rain is just like the marginal notes in the quiet text of life. That means in the human life, see the meaning. In the human life, this rain has become a marginalia. That means a part and parcel of the human life. Manava Jivitamulo, this rain has become a part and parcel. The very important part. Without the rains, man cannot exist on this earth, because the crops cannot grow, people cannot get food to eat, animals cannot survive. So there will be a chaotic atmosphere if there are no rains at all. What's happening in some of the African countries and in some desert areas, there will be no rains. Therefore, people will suffer a lot from not being able to get enough food and all that. For not only for them, but for their cattle and all those things. And that's why this rain has become a marginalia in the టెక్స్ట్ బుక్ ఆఫ్ లైఫ్. మానవ జీవితం అనే టెక్స్ట్ బుక్లో అవి ఒక మార్జినాలియాగా, మార్జినాలియా ఉంటుంది ఆ పేజ్ మీద రాసినటువంటి మార్జినల్ నోట్స్ అవి. సో ఆ బుక్లో ఆ పేజీలో ఒక పార్ట్గా మిగిలిపోయి ఉంటాయి. కాబట్టి ఫ్రమ్ దిస్ యూ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ ద రెయిన్ హ్యాస్ బికమ్ a part and parcel of human life. Without rains, we cannot survive, we cannot exist on this earth. So that's why this is the point he wants to drive to us. And therefore, each raindrop a fancy letter. You look at this slide. Each raindrop a fancy letter. Fancy means very ornamental letter. You know very well, ornamental letters will be there. Fancy letter. Fancy number, you know very well. Karku 999, that's a fancy number. Similarly, fancy letters will be there. You like L or S, some B, K, some fancy letters will be available in the market. Suppose your surname begins with R, then R is your fancy letter. Okay, my surname begins with B. B is my fancy letter. Her surname begins with G. G is her fancy letter. Something like that. Fancy letter means ornamental letters. Okay, they are available in the market, and people generally buy those ornamental letters and have them as their keychain. So here, each raindrop a fancy letter. That means each raindrop has become very, very important in the human life. ప్రతి వర్షపు బిందువు మానవ జీవితంలో ముఖ్యమైనటువంటి ఒక ఫ్యాన్సీ లెటర్ లాంటిది. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ డైరెక్ట్ కంపారిజన్. Each raindrop is like a fancy letter. It should have been like that. If it is so, then it is called a simile, but it is not so. Each raindrop a fancy letter. Direct comparison. Therefore, it's a metaphor. Right. And but in August. So up to here, one scene is explained. So but in August, something entirely different from the one that is mentioned in June. In July. జూలైలో చెప్పిన దానికి క్వైట్ ఆపోజిట్గా ఉండబోతుందని. Because but in August. Because but is a bit of poison. But is going to tell you something entirely against the one that is explained in the First few lines. So, but in August, what is happening? Oh, in August in Bombay. In Bombay, how will be the rains? How will be the weather in Bombay? The rain is simply filthy because it will be raining all over Mumbai, all over that place, and all the streets will become muddy, dirty. So, no, the rains simply filthy. It means they create a filthy atmosphere, unpleasant atmosphere, okay, unhappy atmosphere all over the place, because if it rains always, you don't like it. Okay, occasional rains you like very much, or frequent rains you don't like. The puddles fester. So on the roads and here and there you can find puddles. Puddles means pools of water. వర్షం పడంగా చిన్న చిన్న కుంటలన్నీ నిండిపోతాయి, రోడ్ల మీద కూడా నీళ్లు నిలిచిపోతాయి. And what happens to that water, that puddles of water, they fester. Fester means they get rotten, they get contaminated. They will be filled with bacteria, and you get your feet wet, and people will be going through that water only. That is really an unpleasant thing. That is really a very bad thing, because that's a muddy water, that is a contaminated water, okay, and you are forced rather to go or to walk through that water. And what happens, if you are walking on your barefoot, then what happens, the bacteria will become stuck to your feet. Feet will have all bacteria. అందుకే బయటికి ఆఫ్టర్ గోయింగ్ అవుట్ ఇన్ ద రైనీ సీజన్, ఆఫ్టర్ కమింగ్ బ్యాక్ హోమ్, what should you do? You must clean your feet. Of course, nowadays everybody has slippers or some chappal or some shoes and all that. But some people don't have these things also, because in the rainy season with the chappal you cannot walk properly. With the shoes you cannot walk properly. That's why you leave those chappal and you start walking. So that is also something. So anyway, here the people are forced to walk through these puddles which are festered, which are contaminated with bacteria. Right. You get your feet wet. You have to walk through these puddles. Yes. Now we go to learn the remaining part of the poem. Wading to the office in squeaky shoes. So this point is also there. And how do the people, that go to the offices go? That means wading to the office means they will be wading through the puddles. Wading means plodding through the. Plodding means walking heavily and with difficulty. Heavily. Because in the water you cannot walk very freely. You have to walk very slowly. Because the roads are muddy, full of mud, full of water, contaminated water. So that's why the people were forced to wade through the contaminated water to the offices in squeaky shoes. Squeaky means if you walk with your shoes in the water, what happens now? Water goes into the shoes, and then what do? They make the squeaky sound. Some kind of kirr sound these shoes make, and that's why here he says squeaky shoes. The office goers are forced to walk through that water and with their in squeaky shoes. And it is monsoon all day. It is monsoon all day means it is rain all day. All the day it will be raining and raining and raining. Okay, no one has umbrellas, and this is an irony. When it is raining, you must carry an umbrella with you. But here in Mumbai, the people are not carrying the umbrellas. It's an irony. వర్షం పడుతుంది, గొడుగెట్టుకొని పోవాలి, బట్ యు ఆర్ నాట్ గోయింగ్ అవుట్ విత్ an umbrella means what do you mean by that? It's an irony, right? And here, why does no one buy umbrellas in August? Why don't they buy umbrellas in August? He's questioning. Why don't they buy? Because they don't like to buy umbrellas, because they might feel that carrying an umbrella is a burden. Because they have to hold the umbrella like this, and they have to walk through the puddles and through the muddy roads and all that. It might be a kind of burden for them, right? And the little umbrella shops should be doing roaring business, okay? But in fact, during the rainy season, the umbrella shops means shops that are selling umbrellas must be doing some roaring business. They must be in full swing. they must be doing a very profitable business. But what is that? Why are they empty? Because no people are buying the umbrellas from the shops, because they want to get wet in the rain. They don't want to buy the umbrellas. So that is the mentality of these Bombites, okay. And the fishmonger does not bother to close his shop. And here somewhere the fishmonger is there, and he doesn't bother very much about this rain, about the showers, because he will be selling the fish. He sits there all day long humming to himself. And the fishmonger on that means he doesn't bother, because always he lives in water. What does a fishmonger do? He catches fish in the water and he lives with water. He does everything with water. So water does not make a big difference to him. And that's why what is he doing? He sits there all day long humming to himself. Humming means singing aside some song to himself. That means singing some song as in himself only. He was sitting there all day long. So this is the meaning of these lines. Now we go to the last few lines of the poem. I have never liked the rain, especially in January in Mumbai. You see, these are the first few lines of the poem. Again they are repeated. It is called repetition. Repetition means whether a word or a phrase gets repeated in the other lines of the poem, that is called repetition. So this is a literary device. So far you have come to know 3 literary devices. What is that? Repetition, one, and irony. Even though it is raining heavily, people are not interested in buying the umbrellas. It's an irony. And each drop is like a fancy letter. So there is no like, and therefore it's a direct metaphor. So these 3 literary devices you have learnt in this poem, and some more literary devices are also there that we are going to learn now. Okay, now we are all going to learn about the literary devices. After these literary devices are explained to you, you are requested to do some small exercise. 20 bits are given, so some small exercise is given. You have to do that exercise on your own. Literary devices used in Mid-Monsoon Madness. So I have prepared a few literary devices here. So Nissim Ezekiel's poem Mid-Monsoon Madness uses various literary devices to enhance its themes and convey its mood. To enhance its themes and to convey its mood, this poet has used various literary devices. Here you pay attention. Here are some of the key devices employed. So some of the key devices are given here. The first one is imagery. Every time I shall be giving you this imagery at the beginning. Okay, imagery. Yes, you can find the beautiful imagery in the poem. Vivid imagery to paint a picture of the monsoon season. And here you pay attention. The pitter patter at night on bedroom windows, on suburban trees in the morning. So these lines, when these lines are read out, immediately you understand the raindrops hitting against the window. Okay, making the pitter patter sound. Okay, and suburban trees, on the trees. So when the raindrops fall, what happens? It will make some kind of pitter patter sound. Tap, tap, tap. Because they are all little showers, right? So you get the picture on your mental screen immediately, right? One more example I think I have given you here. What is that? And occasionally a girl with wet hair wrapped in a towel, grassy and deliciously naked. That means, here in these lines, you immediately remember a girl whose head is wet with rain, has wrapped about her head some towel, and she is very grassy, means very attractive and beautiful. So some description. So you immediately visualize that and some picture will flash on your mental screen. You can see that mental picture. That mental picture itself is called imagery. Okay, right. Now we go to learn other literary devices. Metaphor is there. Metaphor is a direct comparison used to bring beauty to the poem. What is that? Here, each raindrop a fancy letter. Each raindrop is like a fancy drop, that should have been, but each raindrop a fancy letter, direct. Prati varshapu binduvu oka fancy letter laantidi అని చెప్పి కనుక ఉంటే then it would become simile. అప్పుడేమో ఎలా each raindrop is like a fancy letter. అలా అంటే it is a simile. But like వాడకుండా we are saying it directly. Each raindrop a fancy letter. That's it, direct comparison, and therefore it is a metaphor. You go to the third one, personification. The poet personifies rain and gives human-like qualities. He's personifying this rain in this poem. What does he say? The rain makes lovely marginalia. Can the rain make the marginal notes? Can the rain prepare marginal notes? So it's there. So it is given the human-like qualities, and therefore this is personified in this poem. This is personification. Now you go to learn other literary devices. Alliteration is there. Okay, the use of alliteration adds a musical quality to the poem and can emphasize a particular images or themes. Okay, here you pay attention. With wet hair wrapped in a towel. With wet hair wrapped in a towel. So www, wah wah wah. This sound is repeated. So that's why this is an alliteration, right? And you go to the repetition. Repetition of certain words and phrases can emphasize key ideas or feelings. So what is that? I have never liked the rain, especially in January, in Mumbai. So these lines were said at the beginning of the poem. Again, they are repeated at the end of the poem. And that's why it is called repetition. And a tone is also there. The tone of the poem shifts to reflect different moods of the people. Tone is there. What's the tone? From the happy one in July. In July there are only showers, okay, and that's why the people are very happy in this July. But in August there will be torrential rains, heavy rains, all the day raining, and that's why it is frustrating to the people in August. జూలైలో హ్యాపీగా ఉన్న మూడ్ ఆగస్ట్లో ఉండేసరికి అన్హ్యాపీగా మారిపోయింది, ఫ్రస్ట్రేటింగ్గా మారిపోయింది. అంటే దట్ ఇస్ ద టోన్. ద టోన్ షిఫ్ట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ బీయింగ్ హ్యాపీ టు అన్హ్యాపీ. హ్యాపీగా ఉండడం నుంచి అన్హ్యాపీగా ఉండడానికి షిఫ్ట్ అయ్యింది కదా టోను, రైట్. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద టోన్. కాంట్రాస్ట్ ఈస్ దట్. ద పోయట్ కాంట్రాస్ట్ డిఫరెంట్ రియాక్షన్స్ ఆఫ్ ద పీపుల్ ఫీలింగ్ హ్యాపీ వెన్ దెర్ ఆర్ కంటిన్యూయల్ షవర్స్. పీపుల్ ఫీలింగ్ హ్యాపీ, okay, when there are continual means occasional, okay, continual showers and rain, and feeling frustrated, feeling happy when there are continual rains or showers, and feeling frustrated when there are continuous heavy all day rains. See the difference between continual showers and continuous. Continual means off and on, irregular. Continuous means non-stop. Are you getting confused? Because they are confusing words. Continual means occasional, appudu with a little break. Continuous rains means regular rains, non-stop rains. That's it. So with the continual rains people were happy. With the continuous rains people were frustrated. So this is the contrast. Ee rendinti pakka pakkana petti cheppadutunna. So that's called contrast. And irony is there. There is provided an ironic contrast between all day rain, people not buying the. So between the all day rain and people not buying the umbrellas. What is this? There are rains, there are all day rains on one side, but the people are not buying the umbrellas on the other side. See, is it not an irony? Vyangyam kada idi? Kabatti. It is monsoon all day, no one has umbrellas. These lines tell you that. Now you have learnt the literary devices that are employed by the poet in this poem, and very simple and very easy. Okay, just watch this video once. It will be recorded in your mind. I'm damn sure about that. And now you are supposed to do this exercise because you have listened to the poem. If you have listened to the poem carefully and attentively, you can easily do this exercise just in 5 minutes. And you must also tell me your result. Out of 20, how many of them you have done correctly. Okay, here multiple choice questions on Nissim Ezekiel's Mid-Monsoon Madness is there. What is the main theme of Nissim Ezekiel's Mid-Monsoon Madness? Love and loss, the disturbed city life during the monsoon, adventure and exploration, tradition and modernity. Which one is the right one? You just tell me that. And what literary device is prominently used in Mid-Monsoon Madness? Just now I have told you about this literary device that is prominently used in this poem. What is that? Yes, metaphor, simile, irony, personification. Okay, you know the answer. I don't tell you anything. Right, now we move on to other questions. How does the poet describe the monsoon in the poem? How does he describe the monsoon in the poem? As a gentle, soothing rain, as a destructive force, as a welcome relief, as a disruptive event. What is the right one? Which of the following best describes the tone of the poem? Joyful, reflective, sarcastic, despairing. What is the correct one? You just think of this and give me the answer. What is the poet's attitude towards the city during the monsoon? Admiration, indifference, frustration, nostalgia. Nostalgia means feeling sick of the past life and all that. That's called nostalgia. Okay, how does the monsoon affect the daily life in the city according to the poem? And here, it brings people together. It disrupts normal routines. It goes unnoticed. It improves the city's beauty. Okay, what is the right one? You know that way. What imagery does Ezekiel use to depict the monsoon? Imagery. Bright and colorful imagery. Dark and ominous. Calm and serene. Vivid and pleasant. What imagery does the poet use in this poem? How does the poet feel about the monsoon season? Excited, anxious, indifferent, frustrated. How does the poet feel about this monsoon season in Bombay? Right. What does the monsoon symbolize in the poem? Change and renewal, disruption and inconvenience, peace and tranquility, tradition and culture. What does it symbolize? If you can understand the poem, you can easily tell me this answer. Which element of the monsoon is repeatedly mentioned in the poem? Which element, which word, which one is mentioned again and again? Here, thunder, rain, wind, lightning. You know that very well, right? What literary form is mid-monsoon madness? Is this a sonnet, free verse, haiku, limerick? You know that very well. How does the poet use personification in the poem? By giving human traits to the rain, by describing animals in human terms, by attributing emotions to buildings, by depicting the city as a person. What does the poet use? How does the poet use the personification in the poem? Now let's go to the other questions. What is the impact of the monsoon on the city's infrastructure as described in the poem? It strengthens the buildings. It causes flooding. It has no significant impact. It beautifies the surroundings. Okay. 14th one. For which book of poems did Ezekiel get Sahitya Academy Award? 60 poems, the Unfinished Man, the Exact Name, Latter-day Saints. You know that. 15th one. How does the poet convey the sense of inconvenience during the monsoon? How does he convey? Through orderly descriptions, by using filthy and disgusting imagery, by describing calm scenes, through repetitive and rhythmic patterns. How does he convey the sense of inconvenience during the monsoon? Means one of them is the right one. You please choose the right one. You go to the next one, 16th one. Which of the following best describes the poet's use of language in mid-monsoon madness? Okay, which one? Simple and direct, complex and ornate, technical and precise, vivid and descriptive. What is the right one here? You have to choose that. Right. What is the effect of the monsoon on the people in the city according to the poem? It brings joy and excitement. It creates a sense of unity. It causes inconvenience and discomfort. It is barely noticed. What is the right one? 18th one. What does the poet suggest about the resilience of the city's inhabitants? Resilience means what? Flexibility. They can, behaving according to the situation is called flexibility. Okay, right. And here they are weak and vulnerable. They adapt and endure. They are indifferent. They celebrate the monsoon. You try to understand the question and do it, because in the examination the questions will be given like this only. That's why I have framed all of them like this. And you go to the last set of questions. How does the poem end? We have listened to the poem. And how does the poem end? On a hopeful note, with a sense of despair, with a resolution of the chaos, with a continuing sense of disruption. Is it disruption continuing? Okay. And what message does Nissim Ezekiel convey through mid-monsoon madness? The beauty of nature, the harsh realities of urban life during monsoon, the joy of seasonal changes, the importance of community during difficult times. So one of them is the right one. please tick it and choose as your answer. With these questions, this video comes to an end. Thank you for watching. And here are given answers for all those 20 bits. Okay, so 1 to 10 bits are given here. Okay, and 11 to 20. So I have already told you there might be some typographical mistakes because I'm not good at typing. Okay, whatever it is, if there is any mistake either in the questions or in the answers, please bring it to my notice. Okay, thank you so much. You are all doing that. I'm very happy with all of you, and please do this exercise at home in your leisure period. And now with this, this video comes to an end. Hello dear DSC candidates, thank you so much for watching this beautiful video, and if you have any problems with regard to this poem, in understanding the poem, please bring it to my notice and make a mention of your problem in the comment section, and you also mention the score you have got after doing that exercise. All these things you are responding that means you are responding to this poem very actively. That's what I want from you. So that's what I would like to see from you. And with another beautiful video, I shall be back to you. Until then, bye. See you all of you. Right.